One of the highlights of owning an NES back in 1989 had been Tecmo's Ninja Gaiden. Of course, back then everyone called it Ninja Gaiden. It was a side-scrolling action platformer that had you battling an ancient evil while searching for your father's murderer. It was loaded with great cinematics, the music was unforgettable, and it's one of the most difficult games on the platform. But the series began life as a much different arcade title. Released the year before, Ninja Gaiden Arcade had been a beat-em-up with wildly different mechanics and visuals. To further complicate the matter, Sega began releasing its own take on the Ninja Gaiden formula, starting with the 1991 Game Gear release by Japan's System House. Outside of a few moves and power-ups, it was very different in gameplay, visuals, and sound to the Tecmo Arcade and NES editions. Sega turned the series on its head once again with the Master System version in 1992, a co-op project between Sega CS and Sims. Completely different from its Game Gear cousin, this one again had a few similar moves, but was otherwise a brand new experience. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the Game Gear version of Ninja Gaiden, see how it differs from what you may know of the series, and see if it's worth playing today. I hope you guys enjoy my review of Ninja Gaiden for the Sega Game Gear. The story here is quite a bit different from what we had seen in previous renditions of the game. This focuses on your dragon sword and the enemies attempting to steal it. That sets you on a journey to discover why and who is behind it all. The gameplay from there is pretty typical action fare. Enemies run, jump, and pop out from all corners and sides of the screens. Fortunately, you have many ways to deal with this. Your standard attack is a sword that is fast and has an impressive reach. There are also secondary weapons that use various amounts of force points. This includes ninja stars, a vertical energy wave, a heat-seeking energy ring, and a scatter shot. Also spread about the stages are herbal pots for health replenishment, and invincibility that surrounds you in a ring of fire, orbs and scrolls that give you more force points, and a standard 1-up, or what appears as a heart for extra lives. Most of the stages scroll horizontally left and right over some light terrain for you to negotiate. There is an instance of vertically scrolling action, and of course, each area ends in a boss encounter. The Game Gear Ninja Gaiden is a short adventure, having only 5 stages, and can be easily beaten in 25 minutes or so. One area where this game does a really nice job is its visuals. The sprites are well defined, the backdrops are clean and detailed, and there's never any doubt what you need to do in a boss battle. Like many games on the platform, it's also colorful, and all the on-screen enemies are quite distinct from one another and the backdrops they're set against. A few of the boss characters are huge and have multiple forms, adding to the visual pizzazz. This was done on a tiny 1 megabit cartridge, which is almost certainly why the game is so short. The stage and enemy variety is impressive, but it ends in just 5 stages thanks to the tiny ROM size. It's pretty, but a short burn that will leave you wanting more. The music has always been an important part of the experience in these games, and the Game Gear version here has some decent tunes. It's not on the same level as the NES version, but solid nonetheless. Its biggest issue is its variety and the amount of it. Like the stages themselves, every track here is short and can actually repeat during the gameplay. In fact, the entire thing has a runtime of just 11 minutes. That includes every stage, the title screen, and the boss music. That should give you some idea of just how lean the content is overall. I do have a few selections for you, so you can get an idea of what you'll be listening to. Having this title on the Game Gear back then was a godsend. While simple, it looked good on the small screen and was close enough to the other Ninja-based software at the time to hold its own. The action was fast, the screen scrolled smoothly, and the secondary items added enough variety to the gameplay to make everything feel just like it needed. But there is no question at all that this game has a huge content problem. As I alluded to multiple times already, Ninja Gaiden on the Game Gear is short. And I mean damn short. There are indeed 5 stages, but one of those is essentially little more than a boss fight, and 3 of the other 4 are extremely short. The final stage does offer some length and a challenging final fight, but even the most average gamers among us should be able to defeat this with little more than an afternoon's play session. There's just so little here to come back to after it's done. Even for a portable title, it's pretty short. I also absolutely hated the way you take damage. There is no period of invincibility once you get hit, so under the right circumstances, enemies can actually juggle you for multiple points of damage. In some cases, I've had entire life bars stripped away thanks to being stuck in an endless juggle. These shortcomings really are unfortunate. For as good as Ninja Gaiden is on the Game Gear, and I want to stress it's still a very fun game, it really did need 2 or 3 more stages, the music to go along with those, and a tweak to get rid of the ridiculous juggle damage mechanic. You do that, and this goes from a decent game to an unmissable classic. The developer behind this was Japan's System House, who was responsible for the Game Gear Streets of Rage titles. And I honestly don't know why Sega only gave these guys a single megabit to work with. It's not like this was some budget release for $19.99. This was a full retail product at $40 freaking. Even the original NES version had been 2 megabits, and that was years earlier. This actually seemed to be a problem that would dog many Sega titles in the early to mid-90s. Projects would be completely hamstrung by small ROM sizes that limited asset variety and other important parts of the game. I don't want to come off like I'm hating on Ninja Gaiden. I really do think this is a solid experience, but there is no question that it's short on content and over entirely too soon. The Master System version was afforded a 2 megabit cart, has more stages, enemies, music, and bosses, and was roughly the same price. There's no excuse why this game ended up being just a blip on the Game Gear fans' radar instead of being something they had to own. The mechanics and visuals were there to be so much more. But for all the bitching and complaining I've done in this video, I still highly recommend you give it a go. It's fun while it lasts, and it's good enough for a few follow-up play sessions. The only thing that sucks is that it's guaranteed to leave you wanting more. I'm Sega Lord X. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.